No, it will bounce.
The last one is we need. How did you run this last time? Start with stickers,
Yeah, we sent all the files.
Anyone's phone in particular?
Excellent.
What did you use? I guess it's perhaps going to be dependent on
I haven't really been looking at it.
The people watching? It's live.
Two viewers.
I think it's fun. Actually, if you got headphones, it'd be cool to switch
Oh,
off. And see
that's
if
it. Yeah, what's that?
Can you hear me okay? More people.
If everyone wants to grab a beverage and seat, we'll kick off and once everyone's settled. Is that? Yeah, I found one. Yep, that's about right. I just had to check the live stream once we're up. Yeah. Everyone sorted for a paper? Yeah? Can everyone hear me down the back? Cool. Welcome to another Node.js meetup. Awesome to be in the TradeMe office again. And we've bumped the limit up to 40 or 50 now because TradeMe is massive and our previous venue was tiny. Thanks all for coming. Just a few shout outs. I sponsored this meetup because I can't find sponsors yet. So if you're a sponsor that wants to be here, please come talk to me. I've got sponsorship proposals that I'm happy to send out to any company, any business that's interested in supporting the community and getting their name across. Also, you can pitch any job positions you have as a company without being present at the meetup. Since I sponsored, I can do a shout out. I'm a JavaScript Node.js developer. If you want to hire me, I'm a contractor, and just hit me up at sudo.console.nz. That's enough that, and thanks again for TradeMe for hosting us. Our basic layout of this meetup is we just generally have a fun little chat about stuff Node JavaScript related, and then we get into this talks. So we've got 2 talks tonight. I'll get to those soon. The first up, what's new in the world of JavaScript? What's new in Node? I need you guys to answer that question.
6.5 is that?
6.5.
Yeah.
6 is the latest LTS. You should get off 5 in a hurry. Anything else? It can't be quiet for JavaScript. It never is. Didn't FS break everything? Cool. Next question. Who's hiring JS devs? Any companies around here hiring?
TradeMe is. Hi, we need lots. Come work here. It's fun.
You're going to take up all of Wellington?
Yeah, all of us.
Any other companies hiring? Anyone looking for JS work? Yeah. Cool, you should talk to TradeMe.
Also, if you don't want to talk to me, Craig at trademe.co.nz is my email address.
It gets a referral, so you might want to ask him to split it. So let's crack straight into the talks. First we have Jason Darwin talking about GraphQL, and after that we have Ryan McCarville. Say that correctly? Yep. Yes. Awesome. Thankfully Ryan jumped in on short notice. I think Jason jumped in on short notice as well. We had speakers lined up and they previously dropped out. So these 2 magical people jumped in and helped bring this meetup to life. So without further ado, it's Jason Darwin.
So yeah, thanks Alex for the introduction. So I want to talk a bit about GraphQL, and it's not necessarily Node related, but it sort of falls into the general same area. So you can use GraphQL very much with JavaScript, and if you're taking maybe React applications, you could find yourself using GraphQL. So I think it should be hopefully of interest to everyone here.
Can someone turn up your back?
Yeah, I'm still not sorry. We're not like Spice Girls, come on.
There's a limit, right?
It's that Command Shift F, I think, to jump out at full screen. I got it.
Yay.
Yes. Okay, so I guess the first thing out of the way is to try and figure out, try to describe succinctly what GraphQL actually is, and this is probably as good as anyone who has come up with it. So it's called a query language that traverses your data graph to produce a result tree, which is reasonably short, but probably still needs a bit of unpacking. Because it's Facebook, they're very mad on the word graph. They use graph everywhere. And it's sort of relevant, sort of not. So if you look at it, it's essentially, I think it's more of a protocol than a language for a start. It doesn't, in terms of language, it doesn't have too much of your verbs and nouns and stuff like that. It's really a way of asking for data and getting data. Graph is just really just a fancy term for an abstract model of your data, whatever your data may be. It's all about querying. So GraphQL is not about how you store your data. You can have any way you've currently got to store your data or any way you want to go to store your data. It's just really about getting the data into the client. And as it says there, the extra data sources can be anything. It can be SQL, existing REST APIs, or anything you've got currently. So what is it? So I guess first and foremost, it's a specification which means it's got a big advantage straight away over REST, because there is actually a way of doing GraphQL, whereas with REST there's not really a way of doing REST. There was a postdoc paper originally about REST, but there's many different flavors and different ideas about REST, and REST services can't out of the box talk to each other without you adopting some other specification or way of doing things. So so importantly, there is actually a way to do GraphQL. And also there's alongside that, there's a reference implementation, which is a JavaScript implementation, and this is done by Facebook. Facebook, of course, done both the specification and the implementation. And this was the first one out of the box is JavaScript. But you've also got a number of other ones too. So pretty much, I think these days, any of the major languages you want to use, you can find that there's an implementation there that you can use. So the support for it is getting quite good, quite quickly. So just to, I guess, give you a flavour of what it is. These are just a couple of quotes we just picked out of a couple of web pages. But it gives you maybe a sense of how people are excited about it, and the fact that you can see GraphQL as being like I don't know if you call it a successor to REST, but certainly it goes beyond what REST APIs can do for you. And this is really, I guess, the Facebook definition pulled from their GraphQL page. Facebook have been using this for a long time, since 2012. And what we can use in terms of the specification and the reference implementation is not all of what GraphQL is. Facebook does have a fair chunk of stuff they're doing behind the scenes at Facebook, and they haven't yet open sourced it. But they've open sourced quite a bit of it. And they'll probably open sourcing more features as they develop them and improve them and figure that they're ready for prompt time. But they're using it quite a bit. So really, what's the point? So it allows you to create APIs to fetch data and to change data. It allows you to make these APIs smart. Right? It allows you to introspect the schema, your data schema, to figure out what types of data you've actually got. You can type, well, you have to type the data in the schema, so you can actually enforce validation. It's really good for spinning out apps very quickly. And there's also, because it's out of Facebook, there's a really good ecosystem of tools that are building around the whole GraphQL thing, which not surprisingly includes tools in the React space too, because React being a Facebook thing. So it's great for the developers. It lets you quickly develop APIs for data fetching. You don't have to figure out the API, because you can actually, the API is basically self-documenting, so you can actually figure out, you can see what you've got. And yeah, it's quite the effort. So I'd say that it takes literally 5 minutes for a new engineer to understand how to use your API. And maybe that depends a bit on your API, but that's the sense of it, that you can get started really quickly and get consuming a GraphQL data source really quickly. It's great on the server side too. So there's a lot of work going on trying to make GraphQL schemas even more performant than they are. It has some really good features, like it's got built-in support for deprecation and documentation. And what Facebook are doing in their GraphQL schemas are basically just marking things as deprecated, so that the client can still use it if it wants to, and can also understand that something it shouldn't be using too. And as mentioned, it's got typed, it uses strong typing, so it can figure out, the client can figure out what something should be, and the server can figure out what the valid values are he's getting back. So just a bit of a digression. So yeah, what's so wrong with REST? Because we've been using REST for a long time, and it's been really good. But if you start using REST at scale, it becomes quite complicated. You've got to be really disciplined, I think, to use REST well at scale and not find yourself getting into trouble with it sometimes. So we talked about, the REST has no real standardization, meaning you have different implementations. It's hard for one REST API to easily hook into another REST API. No inbuilt support for strong typing or interjection. And these extra terms are only terms I've heard when GraphQL started turning up, but people were talking about underserving your data and overserving your data. And underserving means that you end up talking to a number of REST endpoints to get one chunk of data. And that's sort of similar example there, but you may find that if you want to show some data in your application, you've got to talk, for example, to the playlists, get the tracks, to do a number of calls just to get the one amount of data you want. So you end up doing multiple calls for maybe even just a small amount of data. Which takes time and increases the chance of something going wrong with one of your network requests. And I think importantly, your application code complexity increases because you've got to compose the data from different REST calls. So you become, you again tend towards spaghetti pretty quickly. The flip side of that is overserving. You may just want 1-2 fields, but the REST endpoint gives you whatever it's going to give you, which is maybe a huge JSON blob of 100 fields or 200 fields or whatever. And you only wanted the name, you only wanted the description or the address, whatever. You only wanted a little bit of that. And you've got to put up with the network, the network utilization that request is going to take. So it's really an inefficient use of resources. And of course, you get this big lump of data back to your device, and the device has then got to unpack it and find the bits that it wants, and has to use the CPU memory to do just that. So it's really inefficient all around. And the REST APIs often don't age gradually, so you end up getting different versions and having to use different parts of different versions for different things. So it can get really complicated really quickly. So what does GraphQL do about this? So I guess the main point is that GraphQL is all about allowing the client to dictate what it wants. So this is, I guess, a model of how we're often seeing GraphQL being used, which is to surface a number of other data sources, which could be REST APIs, but they could be SQL databases or other things too. So we're seeing there being one GraphQL endpoint the client's talking to, and behind the scenes it's going off and it's getting data from various sources, but it's all being marshaled through that one GraphQL endpoint. So it's the idea of a wrapper around one or many REST APIs. So after all that, this is probably about the simplest GraphQL query you can get, and on the right-hand side is the sort of output you get from that query. So here we've got a query. We've just asked for the name, and it's given us back the name. And I guess the points to notice about this is that it looks like the query itself looks like JSON, but it's not. It's a bit deceptive because it doesn't have any values. So it's like the bit of JSON. It's like the property, but not the value of JSON, I suppose. And meanwhile, on the server, your schema might look something like this. For that example I showed, we've got a type good user, which has an ID, which is obligatory. It's mandatory. We've got a name, which is string, and we've got this user is associated with a collection of friends, which is typed user as well. So the user is associated to other users. And then we've got a root type, which is really just a way of surfacing the query and friends, etc. And here's our schema. Our schema query is a query of root, which is this guy. And I won't get into mutations now, but you can specify to look at the schema and see how it works. And there's just a little GIF that shows you how GraphQL works. So the left-hand page for the query, result, and then documentation on the right-hand side is popular purely because the browser can introspect the schema, find all the information about the schema that's coming through from this query from the server. So the client, the client's totally done. This is just asking for query. Not only the data that matches the actual query itself, but also the information about the schema. So it's a nice little tool for getting started with GraphQL. So those are this. Here's a so this thing is this site in I think called Cora Cloud, which is a local startup that uses GraphQL to expose out student records, education sector data. So the idea is that if you were someone who had the right application to query the skills to get back to the student themselves. So this guy is very the same. The skills go across the school of principal.
Excuse me, Jason, can I just ask you to speak up a little bit?
Sure.
Vending machine is competing with Kate.
I'll try to do it. Okay, so here on the right is the data sets from that query. As mentioned, the docs here, drill down to these and see what, for example, what the school is. Top school, you can see what the fields are on the school. And get a good sense of what's in the schema. So if I start around this column, and I'm not too sure that's what I want to find out as we ask GraphQL, it will tell me. Right. So here's the list of fields that I've done. So GraphQL is a really nice tool for getting multiple skills. It gives you a sense of this what to do with GraphQL. So next. Okay, let's get the same query of schools. So let's just pull back all the school information. So that's just a bit of a simple query. I've got to provide authorization for that. And then I'm just talking to the API, and my query is pretty much the same as schools and give me the name of the schools. So that the query structure is pretty much the coded version of that. Start looking at if you want to start looking at applications and stuff. Look at there's a couple of methods out there. One of which is one particular is called Apollo. Apollo is it's really the guys when I meet you and decided to jump on board GraphQL. And there's the Apollo set up client and both clients are simply client as a module. I've got this is my actual client which talks to Apollo and just basically says I want to so the interface authorization header, and I'm going to pass the token to the inbox cycle to the endpoint. And then that's pretty much it. That's the number there. So we're exporting out a function that allows me to supply a query and some variables that may need to pull that query, and then we'll call Apollo client to run the query and give me back whatever that is. And actually, let's use that as this one. Yes, there's my query. So I just say, my query, get schools, and here's the information I want to get out of those schools. So we can see, yeah, pretty much the school state. And this is something. So we actually run query here. We're basically saying use utility for GraphQL library to let us find out what the schema is. So we'll go back to the server and say, hey, tell us what the schema is. So there is the whole schema of all the data on the server. says what you mentioned about web fragments will allow you different value, for example. And there's the description. So this HTML can be accompanied by a description about methods in use. There's a lot of options that you can specify in the GraphQL suite. So, how do I get this script? So what we're talking about so far is just having GraphQL as a wrapper around other APIs. Really, that's only just the first step, and it's initially that it's great having GraphQL being able to muster, GraphQL server being able to muster all these inputs, but it doesn't really make your life that much better in terms of what's going on here. Services. You make a lot of requests which maybe you should be trying to optimize. So there's a number of ways that GraphQL can actually help you do that. It's really split into what you can do on the server side and the client side. If you're doing React, then there's this side called Relay, which acts as your client-side interface between your React component, or your React application, and the GraphQL server. And that's got a lot of smarts that do things like client-side caching, query fragment marshalling. So each of your React components has specified just a bit of data at once, and Relay will assemble all those fragments from components, do one query, get data back, and split it in these amongst all the React components. I can do optimistic updates. So someone clicks the button on your app, on your UI, and while it's firing with the query, the mutation query, and say, make this change. As far as your application is concerned, the change has been made.
Back on the relay. So you're saying that you had a bunch of different components that were each asking for different pieces of data. It sent that through Relay. Relay would interrogate that and then say just one query.
Yeah. They're called fragments. It puts the fragments together in a sense of that.
And then disseminate them out.
Exactly. It's very smart. And I'll put a slide which shows a typical Relay component. We'll come to it in a minute. The other side of it is the server side, and basically we've got a thing called data loader, which is a pretty uninspiring name, but it's a really important and really useful tool on the server side. What it does is, as the queries come back to the server, it accumulates the queries, and it waits for the next tick to do the actual query. So if you've got a reasonably really heavily loaded server, it tries to take the weight off the server just by bringing all those queries together, waiting until the next tick, and then doing the query then. And then data comes back through, and occasionally the next time is cache. So the data loader is really important on the server side. And as I said, it plays very nice with React. So not surprising given what's going on Facebook. Fragments. And here's an example which hopefully you guys can see. So there's so we've got a render function up here, and we've got a fragment defined up here. So the fragment on T name step type. And as I say, the relay will assemble those fragments together into a single query. yeah, so I'm not read about Relay. Ultimately, Relay 2.0, and that's a working title. They may change it to something else possible. It's probably due for release sometime around the end of the year. There's a really good video on it. This guy here, and they're shoving a whole lot more features into it to make it even smarter. And it's going to include things like labeling queries with system ID. So when you send a complex query back to the server will then register that query with an ID. So next time you do that same query, just pass the ID, and you don't have to send this stop and break query. So it's all about optimizing the speed of querying in the database.
Does it work with anything else except React?
You can use GraphQL. In fact, use React tool. You can use GraphQL.
For the fragment.
Oh, for fragments. No, that's really Relay. That's really. Sorry. That is support for fragments itself. So you can actually, you've got a editor which is not doing React stuff. It still use fragments. But you'd have to do a lot of the hardware yourself. Probably could be a few months out. So you might have not going to use Relay. This just sees some of the things that they're doing with Relay too. This is about the native app world, not the web world. But the passive caching is the use of initialization. You're actually doing some speed things that you do prefetching. So that while your app JavaScript's getting going, the app itself can be doing as much of the fetch work as possible. So they're really pushing a lot of work to try to get the speed up. And the one thing to notice with I think just this mechanism here, they can take the time for a query down from 50 milliseconds to 5 milliseconds. So it's really fast. Really fast. Talk about data loader. So I guess with any good thing comes a few things you have to think about. And there's a few things that are worthwhile bearing in mind with GraphQL, which is that, as I say, you use this as a wrapper around a whole lot of other services. But you've got to watch out in case you need one of those particular other services. If you get a transit error, it can help to be a little bit flexible and do at least allow for one retry. You've got to watch out because GraphQL can be servicing a whole lot of complex queries, or you can do some complex queries with it. There becomes an opportunity for denial of service. So you might want to possibly fail a query after a certain amount of time, or if it's going down to a certain amount of time. It's not built with any inbuilt mechanism for doing authentication and authorization. There's people talking about how best to do this, and people have been doing authorization right down to the field. So you may check each field with a certain field on the particular cluster. But this is not something GraphQL itself. Every piece of data should be able to be identified by which is the way so just what's coming up. There's a video from React Europe which is worthwhile watching, and they talk about these things here matched to fair live subscriptions. Let's think over there. That's Lee Byron, who was the guy that was really leading the effort behind GraphQL. I guess he's still on far of GraphQL. Batch operations are really the idea about doing one request which has as many queries in it as possible, and maybe comparing differences between queries. These things here, by the way, these are declaratives. So as there's a mechanism for allowing you to sort of override the language. There's a few declaratives that comes with it. Others as well. basically say, here's my query, but don't give me all of it back, just give me this bit back. And then at a later time, give me the rest of it back, because I just want to get essential data to the user. I don't even think about getting this stuff back, but I don't need to do it straight away. So, what about here? We've got an example here, we can say comments interfered. So the query, the result of the query is going to be this guy here. Then pretty soon afterwards, you're going to get comments back. Those guys took the information, get the essential data. Start where they're getting the rest of the stuff, but not straight away. Yeah, and then the comments will come trickle afterwards. Yes, this is pretty much the idea of being able to register launches with the server about a particular field or a particular part of the schema. And the server will tell you it's changed. So it's quite a nice way of doing something. There is a thing called subscription query they're working on doing some bit of yes, the server then sends you a patch note for your data when something has changed because something else has changed. Yeah, this is a subscription stuff. So yeah, so you just register a subscription query and then once you told as it's changing, when it's changing. So some things to check out is Apollo is a really interesting project. It's a Apollo client, Apollo server, both and there's some smart tools behind the project. They're very easy to use, so you usually find the server on the phone. And interesting enough, the Apollo project is not only about React, it's also about Angular. So you can drop it into Angular and get very and I mentioned this just because it's not GraphQL, but it's not even competing space, but there's something's come from Netflix. And Netflix were trying to basically solve the same problems that Facebook was solving. And they got this thing called Falcon, which I guess you can say is an alternative to GraphQL, but it's not quite as smart or as maybe as rich. That's some interesting work. Yeah, so that was easy to get started with. There's some features, it doesn't have as many features as GraphQL. Just sources. Yeah, so I mean, I'm certainly no expert at GraphQL, but what I've seen so far I really like, and I can really see stuff is and some of the some of the pros and cons maybe some we should see GraphQL really useful tool. So yeah, any questions?
Something you say really useful in small applications is kind of small volume anyway.
Yeah.
Something that's the real strength is.
I think the real strength is scale, but I think also works really well to make the client help the concept of in my small applications too. I've done a couple of RESTful projects where I took a SQL database and put a GraphQL schema on top of it, and I did that. There's tools on there which let you interrogate SQL database and build the GraphQL schema. And I can serve that out from my GraphQL server and play with it. GraphQL, just get that JSON from the Java server. So I made it much easier than passing client server with the SQL database. So I think even small applications is good.
You can use relay.
I don't know how well it plays with other parts of the React system. I haven't used it yet, so I'm not sure.
Is there, so GraphQL is for querying. Is there a related updating and pushing data through?
So,
in a similar style.
That does GraphQL does that too.
It does.
It's got support for mutations, so you can actually find mutations, so it's going to change. So it's not about just one way, it's about two ways. I'll put the link to the presentation up on the Meetup page. It's interesting.
One more question.
Do you have any examples of actually doing those mutations?
But not personally, but there's something around the web performance in this.
Are there multiple sets of mutation?
Yes, yeah, that's right. So you do mutation for the class.
Does it have also some functionality?
I haven't seen anything about actual classical database transactions. Yeah, so yeah, no, I haven't seen that. Probably some people yeah, but it's really interesting. After the West and so on, so it makes you realize what you're missing after West.
Cool. I'll click around. Yes. We're going to have a 2-minute break while Ryan sets up. And then I'm going to stop the recording because that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you. Right?